Great respects to God and the pastor of this house. To you, my brothers and sisters in Christ, we're going to move in an expeditious manner. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
I have to warn you that I do feel like preaching today.
Preach.
Now, some of y'all didn't say nothing because preaching is synonymous with taking a long time, but I didn't say that. I said I feel like preaching today. Is that all right with you? If you would stand and turn your Bibles to the book of Exodus. To the book of Exodus, and we're going to go to the 14th chapter in the book of Exodus. Once again, I ask you to stand if you can. God bless you. Is everybody at the 14th chapter of Exodus?
Amen.
If we go to the 10th verse. It says, are you there at the 10th verse?
Amen.
And when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them. So they were very afraid, and the children of Israel cried out to the Lord. Then they said to Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, you have taken us away to die in the wilderness. Why have you so dealt with us to bring us up out of Egypt? Is this not the word that we told you in Egypt, saying, let us alone that we may serve the Egyptians? For it would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. In verse 13 it says, and Moses said to the people, do not be afraid, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which will accomplish for you this day. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you shall again see never no more. The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. I want to go back over 13 and say that Moses said to the people, do not be afraid, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will accomplish for you today. You may take your seat. I want to draw for a text. Stuck somewhere between your worst and God's best. I want to say again, what happens when you're stuck between your worst and God's best? Right. The first thing I want to draw your attention to set up my sermon, to set up the understanding of how this text works, to understand how God works with his people, you have to first understand, Shauna, what type of God we serve. Sister Gina, we serve a covenant-keeping God. What is covenant? Covenant is just a fancy Old Testament word, Rhonda, for contract.
Yes.
It means that God is a God who operates and abides by contracts. Yes. And if you know anything about contracts, contracts have nothing to do with feelings. They have nothing to do with emotions, Danielle, but they have everything to do with the legality of the matters that abide within them. Are you with me? Yes. So what I'm saying is that God is a God that does not operate on emotion, Shauna. He's not a God that operates on feelings. He's not a God that operates on how you personally opinion something. He's a God that solely deals with legalities of the contract. Yes. Are you with me, somebody? Yes. Pastor, that because we serve a God who is a God who deals with contracts, this is the reason why some Christians who don't read their Bible will always have a hard time. Come on. Why would they have a hard time? Because they don't understand that when you approach God, it is important to approach him in the legalities of his contract. That's the reason, Shauna, why you hear Old Testament, people in the Old Testament praying to God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. What they are doing is they are reminding God of his covenant relationship that they possess with him. And in that covenant relationship, Rayshawn, you are able to get blessings that abide in the contract. See, sometimes things, Rayshawn, because we telling God how we feel rather than pointing to him into the contract. Do you understand what I'm saying? That because we serve a contract, he does not, I need to say it again so you can get it, he does not care how you feel about a certain issue. And if you do not remind God about the contract that he has with you, he will not bless you with what is in the contract. So I have to tell you that you, one, have a covenant-keeping God. You have a God who works and deals, Sister Keisha, within a contract. Come on. Well, Cassius, because you have a God who works and deals in a contract, the next question I have to ask you is, are you sure that you want to proceed any further? Danielle, are you sure you want to proceed any further? Yes. Because once, Shauna, you enter into a covenant relationship with God, there reaches a certain point with God where there is no longer afforded the luxury of reconsideration. Right. That once you enter into a covenant with God, that Valerie, you are no longer allowed the luxury of being ambiguous. Come on. You can't just flip and flop. You can't just have a unmade up mind. You can't just be sort of in and sort of out. You can't be 6 in one hand and half a dozen in the other. That once you deal with the covenant keeping God, what I'm trying to say is simply that you will get to a point where you won't be able to go back. That once you cross a certain line with God, you will not be able to be made to return from which you came. And maybe, Michael, maybe the children of Israel was too occupied with saying praises and high-fiving their way out of Egypt and crossing over the line. Maybe they was too excited to understand that once they crossed over the border, leaving Egypt, that within doing so, that they had extended and restructured their covenant relationship with God. Come on. What am I saying? I'm saying that in the text you'll see that the children of Israel went out of Egypt high-fiving.
Yeah. All right.
And Sister Silas, they went out celebrating. And they went out singing and they went out smiling. But what they failed to understand is by their coming out, they were simultaneously going in. I say it again. They didn't understand by their coming out that at the same time they crossed over the border line of Egypt, that they crossed in the covenant line with God. That at the same time that they crossed over the line, at the same time they went into a reworked deal with God.
Right. Yes.
Well, what was that reworked deal? The reworked deal was that if they wanted to reap the benefits of the plans and promises of God over their life, that consequently they would have to be prepared to wait for the providence of God in their life. I'll say it again. Once they came out of Egypt, they was stepping into the blessings and the plans that God had for their life. Well, because they accepted that part, they also had to deal with waiting for the providence of God in their life. And what I'm saying to you, Beacon Light, is I'm saying that once you allow God to come into your life, once you confess with your mouth and believe with your heart, once you tell people I'm blessed and highly favored on your job, once you get down on your knees and say, Lord, if you just make a way out of no way, once you get down on your knees and say, Lord, if you can just get me out of this situation, once you get down on your knees and say, Lord, if you can make it possible, if you can make it happen, once you say in Jesus' name, once you say and it is so, what you are doing is you are crossing a point of no return. Once you accepted the plan and the promise of God, you have automatically accepted to wait for the providence of God. And I know that it was all praises, and I know that you was high-fiving when you came out of being a hoe. I know that you was praising and high-fiving when you came out of unemployment. I know that you was praising and high-fiving when you came out of the bad marriage. I know that you was praising and high-fiving when you came out of loneliness, when you came out of depression, when you came out of brokenness. I know that you came in church, that you rode around, that you didn't get enough ushers around you to contain you. made it out with my peace. I made it out with my children. I made it out with my home. I made it out with the financing. But I find myself in a situation where I'm stuck between my worst and God's best. For the sake of time, we're going to cut across the field and we're going to get to point one. I'm going to have to chunk it off just a little bit. In verse 10, look at verse 10. Look at verse 10. It says that, oh, I feel like it says, and when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them. Look at that text right there. It says, and when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, Starkeisha. And what happened is they noticed the children of Israel.
Yes.
There are going to be some people in this church today that are going to have a hard time because they keep lifting their eyes to the hell behind them.
Oh, yes.
Rather than the help that's in front of them.
Oh, yes.
What am I trying to say? Point one, I'm trying to say when you're stuck, be careful what you lift your eyes up to. You gotta be careful. Watch this. And if you go to chapter 13 and verse 21, chapter 13, it should just be one page away. Chapter 13, verse 21, it says, and the Lord went before them. Somebody say, before them. Before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead. Somebody say to lead. To lead the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light. So as to go, somebody said to go by day and night. He did not take away the pillar of cloud by day or the pillar of fire by night from before. Somebody say before. From before them. Watch this. God has been kind enough to the children of Israel to provide them a pillar of cloud in the day and a pillar of fire by night. What am I saying? God has been kind enough that to let you out of Egypt, he's been kind enough to provide a pillar of cloud in the day and fire by the night. What am I saying? I'm saying that God has been kind enough to provide shade from the heat in the day. And he's been kind enough to provide light in the darkness to lead you, to be ever present before you. And here you are with the audacity, with the unmitigated gall that even though God is before you, you have the nerve to look at what's behind you. You got the nerve to check what's behind you. God knew that you didn't know nothing outside of Egypt. That's the reason why he put himself before the Israelites. He knew that the Israelites had never expanded or pushed themselves beyond the thinking and beyond the borders or beyond the outlines of Egypt. That's the reason why he went before them. But the moment the Israelites heard the marching of their past, the moment they heard the ground shaking with the chariots of their bad choices, the moment that they saw the dust rising from their unsettled history, the moment that they heard the cadence of the unkindness that was in their life. What happened? What happened? They abandoned their forward thinking because they didn't see any forward progress. What am I trying to say? You have to be careful of abandoning your forward thinking just because you think you can't go any further. The Israelites got to the Red Sea and said, this must be as far as we can go. Therefore, they started going backwards in their thinking. Because you don't see a way to progress forward. Because you don't see a way to get out of that dead-end job. Because you don't see a way to make your marriage better. Because you don't see a way to act and make your kids behave the right way. You start reverting backwards in your Egyptian name. And you remove the attention away from the progressing pillar and to the pursuing problems of your past. What am I saying? You have to be careful what you lift your eyes up to. You have to be careful what you lift your eyes up to when you're stuck. Why are they looking at the wrong thing, Sister Gina? How is it possible for them to be so easily able to turn their attention away from the things that God had before them? How is it that they believe that God could release them out of the hand of Egypt, but not rescue them from the hand of Egypt? How is it possible? Well, if we look at verse 13, we're going to see what Moses says to the people. Do not be afraid. He says, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Well, this gives a tip in how the Israelites started looking at the wrong thing. The reason was, because they were set free, but they had not been delivered. Good. Somebody missed that. Somebody said, well, Minister Lewis, how can you set somebody free and they not be delivered? Isn't set free and delivered the same thing? Well, understand this. Understand that because we have a contract-keeping God, it means that God's plans for your life, Shauna, are time sensitive. Watch this. It means that because we have a God who operates out of contract, Jana, what it means is that God has to get you to a particular place in a certain amount of time.
Yes.
And maybe the Israelites thought that they had suffered enough. That's the reason why they came out. Maybe they thought that their prayers was answered. But the real reason why they came out of bondage, out of Egypt, is because God had contracted out 400 years of slavery. And at this current time, the Israelites was in 430 years of slavery. What am I saying? I'm saying that God can no longer wait for them to fully trust in Him. That God can no longer wait for them to stop taking up idols. The reason why you came out of your Egypt wasn't because you was ready to come out. It's because God needed you to get out so you can get to the next place. See, you wasn't ready to stop sleeping around when God gave you a husband. But God's plan for your life had missionary, therefore you couldn't be a hoe and a missionary at the same time. So God had to send in a Moses. Somebody missed it. God had to. Some people would be in the same Egypt. Egypt would have been, the Israelites would have been in the same Egypt if God would have never sent the Moses.
All right.
Some people would still be sleeping around if God never sent them a husband.
Okay.
Some people would still never know how to spend money if God never sent them a job. So God has to send in a Moses. God has to send in a job. God has to send in a wife. God has to send in a husband. God has to send in a church. God has to send in a ministry, not because you deserve it, but to push you out. He has to push you out of that place so He can get you to the promised land. If it was up to you, you can see the Israelites said, we should have just stayed in Egypt. If it was up to you, you would still be sleeping around. You would still hooking and crossing. Doing whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. But thank God that He sent a Moses. Thank God that He sent you a wife. Thank God that He sent you a husband. Thank God that He sent you a pastor to push you out. Not because of you, but because of the plans that He has for your life. It's never been about you. And so, even though you are set free, you have to learn deliverance on the road to the promise. Watch this. It would have been really nice if the Israelites would have got down trusting God in Egypt. But they didn't get it right in Egypt, so God had to show them how to trust Him on the way to the promise. Some of y'all are going to learn how how to deal with God on the way to the promise. How does God get you to move from being set free to deliverance? How does he do that, Sister Shauna? I'm glad you asked. God moves people from freedom to deliverance by giving them their worst.
Yes.
How does he issues you your worst? Watch this. If you don't believe me, let's go through the Bible right now. Watch this. In the Bible, we see depictions of God extending his best only after he has issued out the worst. Right. You don't believe me? Watch. Look at Daniel in the lion's den.
Yes. Yes.
See, Daniel went in the lion's den, and before then, Pastor, nobody had ever been rescued out of a lion's den. But it took God to send Daniel into something that he has never seen before so that God can work in a way that he has never worked before. You don't believe me? Ask the 3 Hebrew boys. It looked worse. Not only that they had to go to the fire, but they said they turned the fire up 7 times hotter than it has ever been. And because God presented them with their worst, here comes God at his best showing up in a fire. Oh, preacher, that's just Old Testament. That don't count. Let's go and ask Lazarus. Before then, nobody had ever been raised up from the dead. But what happened is Lazarus had to experience the worst in dying so God can do the best in getting him up. What am I saying? I'm saying that your worst qualifies you to get God's best. What am I saying? I'm saying that the worst signifies that you are at the end of your freedom and on your way into deliverance. What am I saying? I'm saying that by God issuing you your worst, you have now graduated to a point where you're able to deal with his best. That's the reason why some people will never get to the best of God, because they don't know how to deal with the worst of them. It signifies your worst is an invitation. Somebody missed that. Somebody should be happy. Your worst qualifies you, and that it qualifies you to get God's best. Your worst authorizes you to get God's best. It signifies your best. So, if you bring up your worst, the worst is a graduation ceremony.
Yes.
See. Come on now. Come on. Come on, commencement. Amen.
It is a time of commencement.
Hallelujah.
You went through all your worst just to graduate into God's best. So your worst is actually a celebratory point. See, you thought it was for your worst. You thought your worst was for your worst. But what happens is that God has given, if you don't believe me, ask Job. Job was at his worst. And what happened was God was setting himself up for his best. What I'm saying is you need to be like Paul and be happy about anything that you come into. You need to be content. Paul says, I celebrate when I go through hard times. I celebrate when I go through trials and tribulations. Not because it feels good, not because I'm not broken, not because I'm not lonely, but I understand that in my worst, I am about to see God at his best. So what I'm saying to you is congratulations on your heartbreak, because it's your best time. What I'm saying is congratulations on your bankruptcy, because God is about to do his best. What I'm saying is congratulations on your heartbreak. Congratulations on your loneliness. Congratulations on your bad credit. Congratulations on the bankruptcy. Congratulations on the Title IX, because God is about to do his best. Congratulations. Tell your neighbor, congratulations. Congratulations on your worst. Congratulations on your worst. Tell your neighbor, you got a bankruptcy, congratulations. You got a bad marriage, congratulations, sweetheart. Your husband don't do right, congratulations. Your wife don't do right, congratulations. You got negative zeros in the bank account, congratulations.
Congratulations. You're sick in your body. Congratulations. Your wife has multiple sclerosis. Congratulations, Mike. You about to have a baby by yourself. Congratulations, sweetheart. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy that you came to the point where you are now experiencing your worst. You cry all night. Congratulations, sweetheart. Congratulations. God bless you. You don't have nothing. You keep asking your tired. Congratulations, sweetheart. Congratulations on your worst. Because God is about to do his best. Don't miss it. Don't miss God at his best. Don't miss God at his best because you at your worst. How do you not miss God at his best when you're out your Moses said, stand still. Stand still. Some people are going to miss the best of God because they're not willing to stand still in their worst. They was at their worst, but Moses said, stand still, don't miss it, don't miss it. What am I saying? To get the best of God in the worst of you, you have to be able to stand still. Don't miss it. Tell your neighbor, say, don't miss it. Don't miss it. I know your heart is broken, but stand still. I know that you're crying all night, but stand still. I know you ain't got the money for next week rent, but stand still. I know that they talking about you and all that you do is be nice to people. Stand still. I know that you're married to man and everybody said you a fool, but stand still. I know that you're well with the woman, but stand still. I know that you're about to have the baby by yourself, but stand still. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. Don't miss it when you move.
Don't miss.
When you move in your worst, you'll miss what God has for you. The Bible says that if you just stand still, he said if you just stand still, the salvation of the Lord will not happen tomorrow. Look at the text. It will not happen the next day. It will not happen the next week. It will happen today. That means if you make up in your mind before you walk out of the door upon this day, if you make up in your mind to stand still in that trouble, if you make up your mind to stand still in that worst, if you make up your mind, it says that the salvation of the Lord will be revealed upon today. It will be today. It will be today. Come on. He says he'll accomplish it for you today. He'll do it. He says that the Egyptians that you see today, you won't see no more. If you are willing to stand still, the heartbreak that you feel today, you will never see it no more. If you're willing to stand still, the pain that you feel in your body today, you'll never feel no more. If you are willing to stand still today, the loss, the hole in your heart, the void, you will never feel it again. If you are willing to stand still, he told the Israelites, if you stand still, not only will God deliver you, he will deliver you forever.
Yes, he will.
You'll never see it again.
Come on.
You'll never see loneliness again.
Come on.
You'll never see brokenness again.
Come on.
You'll never see heartbreak again. You'll never see strife again. You'll never see struggle again. You'll never see a bad marriage again. You'll never feel lonely again.
Yes, God.
If you're just willing to stand still. Why do you have to stand still? Because God is going to fight for you. It's a sad thing when you get in the way of Jesus. It's a sad thing when you get in the way of the person that's willing to fight for you. What you want to do is you want to move and be out of the way. But watch this, watch this. Let's go to 16 and I'm done.
Bless your name. Bless your name.
If you are willing to stand still, if you are willing to hold your peace,